Welcome to Bogside Chats. We're talking everything DFK and we're keeping it casual. We're the first non-whale podcast. No Gen Zeros, no 100 stable of heroes. My name's C9N, but more importantly, we have our co-host Mattyesq and GuyKid. Boys, how we doing?
Good. Excited to talk about the Perilous Journey. Excited to talk about DFK. Just pumped up. I love this game. You know that. How we doing, Guy?
Doing well, doing well. Just happy to be here. Ready to jump into so much alpha content.
Hell yeah. Okay. Mattyesq, seems like you're raring to go. What do we got on the agenda for today?
So obviously, Perilous Journey. They made the big, or not announcement, but there was an AMA last week, where Huber gave a ton of information, and then they released the documents. And we're not going to go through the documents, but everybody can see them online. They gave the the survival chance percentage and how that formula works, and all the rewards and stuff like that. I think everybody can go look at that information. It's out there on the website. I think for us, the more interesting thing to talk about is, are we going to send our heroes on the Perilous Journey? I've personally just gone back and forth. Like, I only have a handful of under 5 heroes. And my original first thought when all this came out was like, hell no, I'm not sending my heroes. But like now I'm like, some of these rewards are pretty sweet. Maybe I want to send a couple. So I've gone back and forth. And I think I think everybody's debating it right now. And I think this is like the conversation that anyone who's playing this game is having right now.
Yeah. Yeah, when you look at the average or the median wallet size, I should say, I think Frisky said it was 17. So
17 heroes per wallet, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'm also under that. I'm more like you, Maddie.
Yeah.
And I actually keep flip-flopping back and forth. At first I said absolutely not, and then I said, well, if I maybe stock up on 1 or 2 more and then send them all, someone's going to make it and that's going to be valuable. But yeah, like you, I'm flip-flopping. I think the real information we're going to get here, any insight, is not going to be coming from me, like, who's an idiot, but maybe GuyKid, you've got a couple of thoughts here.
Yeah, I definitely flip-flopping a lot too. So I've got 20 to 25 heroes. And originally I said, all right, I'll send 10%. I'll send 2, maybe 5. But I keep going back and forth because the tough thing about this is survival rate is low, but survival rewards are really good. So my whole debate is, I had a lot of heroes. I probably had like 6 or 7 heroes that were, in my mind, untouchable. Couple rare advanced heroes, a legendary, those caliber of cards. But the problem is, if I don't send those guys, they go from being great cards today to okay to good cards tomorrow, because all of these heroes that survive the Perilous Journey get so much better. So it's a really, really interesting dynamic that I keep going back and forth on.
Yeah, I think
That's a great.
Sorry, you go.
I was gonna say, I think that's a great scale. It's like great to good, good to okay, okay to bad, bad to terrible. And looking at it on a scale like that and jumping down an entire tier is scary.
Well, and I think one of the most interesting things of this is this huge jump you get. The +5. So if your hero survives, he gets +5 to 3 stats of your choice. That is such a massive jump. We've been grinding our heroes, leveling them up, and getting, hopefully 1, hopefully 2, on the off chance you get 3 on a level up to any one stat. Getting the automatic +5 is just an insane jump compared to what we've been dealing with. So anybody who survives this trip, like, is immediately going to become a formidable hero just based on stats. And like,
So
I keep thinking about that, and I'm like, like, just that opportunity, just the chance that I get that is so huge.
So it's +5 to 3 attributes?
Yeah, of your choice. So you get to pick.
Oh, it's +15. That's massive.
Yes, it's huge. It makes, again, talking about those tiers, it moves a decent hero to a strong hero, and a strong hero to a god level. Yeah. I mean, It's insane.
So I've got a couple like wizards and priests that are at that like 20 to 22 intelligence realm
Yeah.
right now. And it's like that's a good card right now.
Yeah.
If my 22 jumps to 27, there's 55 cards that have 27 intelligence.
It becomes a
So,
top 1%. I mean, yeah.
right,
So
which is a huge jump.
it's and even then, that's the thing of like going on the tavern right now, finding some floor hero who maybe has one decent stat and bad odds. If they survive it, they become a pretty strong hero. So this is where my where I struggle in terms of like I was like, oh no way, I would never send my guys. But now I'm like, oof, I don't know. If my guys can go from being decent to being top tier,
Right.
that is wild.
And the other thing that came from it too is I think it was mentioned in land tournaments after the fact, but Hubert said that the green and blue stats that I think we've talked about it personally with the
Yeah.
Metas article that we said green and blue stats don't matter.
Yeah.
Pretty much the hour after we said that, Hubert was like, hey, green and blue stats are going to be huge impact for land tournaments. So if you've got a card that's got, and you like, I've got a priest that has 19 wisdom and he's purple wisdom.
Oh,
And if I go and I send him on the perilous journey and he gets burned, that's gonna suck. But if he survives, all of a sudden he's a purple wisdom priest. That's in the top tier for wisdom.
yeah.
This is gonna make common cards be able to outcompete rares,
Yeah.
even some legendaries, and it's gonna level the playing field for those particular cards, and it's absolutely gonna cause. And again, I'm saying absolutely. I
Yeah.
don't deal in absolutes. I know nothing. Jon
Who
Snow.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, oh, hold on. Your references I was gonna say only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm neither a Sith, and I'm Jon Snow. So uh, it's
How about that for a combo?
Yeah, mixed messages here, yeah.
that can be a Jedi. It's gonna be interesting. That's where I'm at. Who
Yeah.
knows what's gonna happen. There could be some absolute gems, but I can see this causing a rift where there's going to be a bunch of heroes that everybody's going to want for land tournaments that are really good, and even beyond Crystal Vale. And there's going to be a bunch of heroes that may drop in value and aren't going to be as good, and it could open up the market for some newer players. Who knows how it's going to happen, but changes are compounding and moving exponentially, and I'm super excited about it.
I think that brings up a super interesting point and something I sort of want to just clarify and discuss a little bit more. I know because Guy, we've talked about it a lot, but so we got this information. So this is sort of separate from the AMA. We got this land tournament information. This was in the Discord. This was brought up separately from all this. I mean, it's obviously it ties to all this, but it was sort of separate information that these land tournaments. So these are going to be competitions with where your heroes can compete. Again, I don't. Are they competing for? And again, Guy, I need you to help me clarify this. They're not competing for the land exactly. You're competing for the opportunity to buy the land.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever been officially confirmed, but it's like the rights to buy the land,
Right.
where it's like you've got the deed or whatever, and it's you still got to clear it through the castle to actually own
I
the
see.
land. But you
Right.
could go sell that right too as well, probably pretty much for the same price as land.
Got it. Yeah. So these tournaments will be. Again, we're waiting for that clarification, but these tournaments are going to be individual heroes versus
It,
other individual heroes in an individual stat versus other individual stats. And there will be some aspect of RNG where there'll be some sort of roll that happens and, you know, there will be some randomness involved, but for the most part, whoever has the best stat is going to win. And again, the green and blue, which in the past and sort of our traditional thinking has been they're kind of useless other than, some early level ups they might help, but in the long run they don't help that much. Those are going to affect these land tournaments and give you bonuses in the tournament. So I think this was kind of a very interesting thing that was brought up, and obviously this became a question as they talked about all the rewards you get from Perilous Journey, +5 to all these stats. How is that going to affect a land tournament? And then this land tournament information was clarified. This information is interesting and sort of changes how you might be approaching trying to find some valuable heroes in the tavern. Maybe we should be looking for the people who have those purple stats that are sort of min max, rather than the.
It's been such a roller coaster for me where it was like,
Yeah.
All right, single heroes, awesome. I have a purple Agi Ninja, super
Awesome.
excited
Yeah.
about him. I've got a purple Wisdom Priest, super excited about him. And then like the next thing out of Hubert's breath was Gen Zeros qualify for the land tournaments too. And I was like, you mother effers.
Right. That was another
Like,
twist.
obviously
Yeah.
there's 2,000 Gen Zeros that are gonna go over on the boat that are gonna qualify for Crystal Vale. And my immediate reaction is, all right, I can't compete with these level 10 Gen Zeros. But these Gen Zeros won't get the +5 stats.
There you go.
So it's like that kind of evens out.
Yep.
But are they going to go Stampot and be level 20s once land tournaments come around? And do we want to play that chase game? So I am all over the place when it comes to land tournaments. I'm definitely going to have a couple heroes compete. But there's some days where I'm like, hey, I'm a front runner for a land tournament. And there's some days where I'm like, should I even bother? It's so bad.
Yeah, so my take on the land tournament, and I'm well qualified to say this, is I think that it's going to be very much like Pokemon Stadium, and we're going to have a great time playing it and doing it. Clearly messing around there. They said it's going to be PvP light, but in my head, or in my heart, I should say, it's Pokemon Stadium, and I'm ready to go.
I mean, there's a lot of analogies to Pokemon in this game. I understand that. And I think the one thing that's interesting of this land tournament is the min-maxing and, kind of, especially monks, I think, are losing out here because monks are the kind of well-rounded class, but that's not what you want for these land tournaments. Now, again, this is, like they said, and C9N alluded to this is going to be PvP light. So this isn't going to be the full PvP, which we're going to get hopefully, further down the road, where maybe monks will help out more. But in this case, I don't know why you would want a monk for any of these land tournaments, because they're well-rounded characters. They're not going to be strong in any individual stat.
Yeah, unless you've got a monk that can compete, like depending on how travel works and how stamina works to even compete in these tournaments. Maybe you've got like a little area that you can compete in a strength, dexterity, and agility tournament with one hero. It's like, yeah, a monk might make sense to send over that way. But from what we've kind of been seeing, is it sounds like they're really going to try to limit the number of tournaments one hero can enter in.
Well, I would hope so, because otherwise anybody with multiple
your rare plus, well, even your common plus Dread Knights are just gonna clean house, and no one else is gonna get anything.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Hopefully, and also too, I guess this goes back to the +5. So these heroes that go on the journey and come back, they're going to be eligible for specific land tournaments that are for people that or for heroes that made the journey exclusively. Now, my question is, if you made the journey and you got +5 on one of your stats, do you want to throw yourself in the ring for those specific tournaments? Or do you want to go back and play everybody else who didn't get the +5? And do you have to make that choice even? You know what I mean? Like we don't know how the land tournaments are going to be scheduled and how it's going to work out.
Yeah, how's the timeline work?
Exactly.
Will Crystal Hill be the same time as Sarandale?
Yeah, because
and if you got a juiced up hero, go have him play against the plebs. Yeah,
exactly. But then is he missing the opportunity for this exclusive tournament that's like just the people that made it in the Perilous Journey? It's interesting, and we gotta wait to get those details. And I hope that there is that choice, because I think that would limit those +5 heroes from being in the regular, quote unquote regular tournaments. I don't know.
A little bit of a segue here. Has anybody optimized like the best hero to send on PJ? Like and a rare X preferably with this stat, usually at this cost in the market, and you're going to get an X% chance, and if you lose, you're going to get X amount of jewel back or rewards back. Anybody done that?
Well, that is a great question and a great segue to our very own expert, GuyKid. He's been looking at this stuff pretty closely and has created a bit of a value sort of calculator. Again, it's we don't. So there's a lot of the rewards are new things. There's new crystals, new stones that are not in the marketplace right now, so we don't know how to value them. But Guy has created a bit of a formula. I'll say, I don't know, formula might be the wrong word, but Guy, you can kind
That's
of
100%
Walk us through
formula.
this, yeah.
So you can kind of explain where you're looking at this because he has sort of done exactly what you're talking about, C9N.
Yeah, so the one thing I'm kind of lagging on is I check the floor prices a couple times a day, maybe every other day kind of thing, and I update that. But basically it's, hey, I've got the survival rate of my heroes. If they get burned, what value am I going to get in jewel out of it? And if they survive, how much is my value going to go up past my floor price? So, and then from there, it's like realistically have a value that I've created here of like how I'm going to put a comparison on of how much I value that hero versus what I could potentially sell them on the tavern for. So
I'm
like my
looking for
wizard's
shade.
kind of a one toss up that I have right now that I could probably sell him for 160, 170. And his value is 155 because he's a rare level 4. He'll probably be a level 5 come time when the actual Perilous Journey happens. And with all the rewards, he'd get 85 jewel and increase in value.
Wow.
Now, what are these numbers all based off of? I would love more input from people of what people would put values on for everything. So I just kind of plugged in some numbers so that I could create that formula and figure out like, hey, what's my equivalent of a hero value? But let me start with the basic one. If you guys were to just go buy a regular raffle ticket and say, hey, there's probably going to be 10,000 people that enter. There's 25 Gen Zeros that we're going to raffle off. How much would you pay for a raffle ticket in Jewel?
To be honest, for me, see, I'm a somewhat negative person. I have kind of a negative perspective, so I feel like I would.
You don't play Powerballs at home?
I feel like I would lose, so I would probably do fraction of a jewel, 0.5, maybe less, something like that, per ticket.
See, I look at the value of the reward itself, and I don't look at well, I kind of look at the probabilities, but the value of the reward to me, to put a 1 in 2,000 or 2,500 chance to do it, like I'd throw $10.
Yeah, so 2 jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. And it's like, all right, Gen Zeros are going for right around 4,000 jewel right now. If there's 20,000 entrants, yeah, that'll be right around 2 jewel in value. How about, hey, there's this crystal you can buy off the market that will give you plus 15 stats, plus 5 to 3 stats of your choosing. How much would you pay for that crystal?
See, that's a lot.
That is incredibly valuable. I think I would put, I guess it depends on the hero. Like maybe, a common floor hero, half the value of the hero. Because that'd be the jump in the stats or close to,
Right.
Something like that. So I mean, let's say 40 is the floor. Yeah, I think I'd say 20 jewel.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah. And that's really just what I went through is I went through all these items and I'm like, hey, let's peg a jewel value to it.
Yeah.
And then create a little formula of, hey, if they survive, the value is going to go up by this amount. And if they burn, I'm going to get this in consolation prize, vice versa, what I just circled. But I think you're following my logic.
No, I got you. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm friends
The
with you.
burn values are interesting. The enhancement stones, I think, are the juiciest thing that's mentioned.
Yes, yeah.
At first glance, I was really excited about the crystals, but then I realized they were one-time uses.
Yep.
So these attunement crystals seem really cool of, hey, the the regular attunement crystal, a plus 10 to your primary stat growth and a plus 30 to the secondary stat growth, that seems huge, but it's a one-time roll.
Yeah.
So your sage going from an 85% chance of upgrading your intelligence goes from 85 to 95%. It's kind of like a whoop-de-doo, like whatever. Do you guys have additional thoughts on the crystal,
I
or
think
like?
I think they're fun, and I do think they have value. You know, I don't think they're worthless. I think
Right,
it will
I
certainly be
agree.
interesting, especially for me. I have two heroes that are Dark Knight, and Ninja, and so that secondary jump is huge for, especially if
That's
you
true.
have a subclass that's an elevated subclass. I think that moves some of those top stats to, it would be 25%.
It almost makes it like a primary roll.
Exactly. So I think
Yeah.
there's value in those. Again, obviously, I need the stone to align with the specific stat that we're talking about. But uh, you know, I understand what you're saying, and they're not as exciting as maybe we would want. But there is some value in these stones for these one time level ups. You know.
Yeah, during the AMA, Hubert started going on about these stones or crystals, and then at the end, Bolon was like, and just to be sure, just to be clear, atonement crystals are not attunement crystals, which aren't atonement crystals, which are attunement crystals, but sometimes they're not. And I was sitting there like, thanks for clearing that up, buddy.
Yeah, seriously.
So that's where my head's at.
Yeah.
Anybody
I,
else? Anybody
I mean,
shout out in the comments? Anybody else their heads at that?
I do think that's fair. They could. I mean, literally, the sky's the limit. You can name these things whatever you want, and they named them things very similar. Like, I don't know.
So something I am more excited about though is these enhancement
Yes,
stones.
totally.
So these enhancement stones, we're talking about how excited we are about these plus 15 stats. Especially for land tournament, the stat that matters the most is your number one stat. So these enhancement stones, upon summoning, are your level 1 is going to pop out like he's a level 3 or a level 4 from a stats perspective.
Ooh.
And you're probably at a point, if you've got Gen Zeros, you are at this point. Our podcast, unfortunately, we do not have Gen Zeros. But if we've got Gen 1s or Gen 2s we've been holding on for a while that are now level 5, now you're talking about plus 2 from your 2 level 5 heroes, and then plus this 4, plus this 6. So you could be looking at a plus 6 or a plus 8 from a bonus perspective upon summoning, which is huge.
At the initial summon, this is to one stat.
Yes, if you line it up right.
Yeah, that's insane.
So it's like I've got a monk and a pirate that their best stat is dexterity.
Mhm.
And then if I get a finesse stone on top of that,
Yep.
my monk and my pirate do +1 dexterity, and this finesse stone gives a +6
Wow.
dexterity on that. So I get a chance of summoning a ninja that right off the bat gets an additional 8 dexterity out of the gate.
That's insane. And so actually, and then a question I have on this. So these rewards, and I guess this goes back to the timeline.
Yeah.
So the journey says it's around 10 days. You can claim your hero on March 16th. And at that point is when we'll find out if our hero lived or died, correct?
Yep.
And so will we immediately get these stones at that point? If
I'd
like, you know,
hope so.
if our hero died, we get these
Because I'd
stones.
love some runway towards land tournament
Right.
for
So
exactly
there's
what I
been
was
no
just talking
announcement of when these land tournaments are actually going to happen. My question is there, what's the window between the result of the Perilous Journey and then prior to the land tournaments? I mean, I'm assuming we're talking about like a week or two.
Yeah, result rewards land tournament. And is that a week between all those? Is it 4 weeks
Yeah,
between all of those? Because going from level 1 to level 5 probably takes people about a month to do. And I don't think anyone on this podcast is stampotting their way to level 5 or level 10.
probably not. No.
But so it's based off of that. If you summon anyone after
Well, I guess
after these rewards. They're probably not going to be able to compete yet for land tournaments.
I
They're
guess
probably
that's
gonna
my
be
question
too,
is
too junior.
my question is, do these stones even matter for the land tournament? Should we even be thinking about that? Because or I guess the crystals for like the level ups
Bingo.
probably don't really matter because we're not going to be doing that many level ups after
Oh.
Perilous Journey prior to the land tournaments, you know?
Well, it may be short for the initial land tournaments, but how many lands are there going to be eventually, and how many of them?
Fair point. Yeah.
That any long-term benefits are going to absolutely produce in the long run, in my opinion. But we'll see.
Well, and that goes back to the initial
much.
point of the land tournaments are the, first round or first version of PvP. PvP is going to be much more extensive and much more robust down the line. So the stones and the crystals will have value for that down the road. I think right now we're all focused and excited about the land tournaments, but there is going to be PvP that's going to look different from the land tournaments farther down the road.
But we're early. We're not early, but we're early.
I mean, we're early. We're not the earliest, but we're early.
I can't wait to see this game in its entirety and put my life savings down through it, or at least my team's retirement, whatever's first.
Yeah.
Oh God, what do you got next,
No
Matty?
All right, let's see. Right, something I did want to bring up is death rewards, and so Guy, going back to sort of your formula, we do get some rewards for if your hero dies. There's sort of the life insurance policy. Do you think there is a way now to look at the market, look at sort of floor heroes and say, based on death rewards, this hero would be a good value versus someone else? Like, should we be buying an uncommon floor hero with the expectation that they will die and that maybe we'll get a net wash in terms of the rewards? Like, is that possible? Is that something we should be looking at?
The problem is, my initial reaction at these death rewards were these jewel compensations are so low.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about, I don't think you're going to go pick up a mythic Dark Death Knight off the market.
No.
But if that mythic Death Knight dies, it's 81 jewel. Like, that's that's a tough hit.
No, I'm sure, but like that's not what I'm talking about. Like, none of us are putting any mythics out there or buying any mythics. Like,
all right, so let's use that same example with a rare basic. So a rare basic, you're talking about an 11 jewel compromise.
So basic.
The additional things you'll be able to get past that. Hold on, I got a little pop-up that grabbed me.
Got too many spreadsheets.
Oh, dude, spreadsheets upon spreadsheets. So many layers.
We call you Excel man behind your back.
So it's like the Gen Zero raffles. It's like, yeah, that's nice. The Shavasana, the Moksha runes. It's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, hey, based on the rest of your hero stable, how much value do you put on these enhancement stones and these crystals?
Mm-hmm.
If you're similar to me, that it's like, hey, you planning on doing a decent amount of summoning, and these enhancement stones have some real value to them, yeah, a 35, 45 jewel floor hero might make sense. But then you deal with, all right, how many of these crystals and these stones do you want? So these stones, if you just have a common basic, you're only getting one of them. If you get a rare, you're getting two. And it's like, all right, do you go and reach into the advanced bag and the elite bag? Kind of what C9 was asking of, like, hey, does a ninja make more sense than a thief?
Yeah.
And I would actually be curious to look what the ninja floor is. 44 jewel, I think that's Ninja Paladin. Are we buying this guy?
Are we making a purchase live?
Scoop it up.
Seriously. But like, I think the advanced heroes make more sense than the common floor heroes. Ooh. For an extra 10 jewel, you're talking about what is it?
Yeah.
Three extra crystals and one extra stone for 10 jewel.
See, that's lending to my split theory, where there's going to be a certain amount of people that are thinking the same thing. They're going to send a lot more advanced classes and so on and so forth, they're going to get burned. We're just going to have a ton of uncommon basics. They're going to drop in value, and the actual advanced, like uncommon and rares and legendaries, are just going to skyrocket because half of them got burnt. There you go. We're calling it the
Half of them
split.
got burnt, and then the ones that survived are now all beefed up and juiced up.
It doubled in price.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag the split that we're calling it.
But I have been looking. It's like, so the alternative Perilous Journey strategy is, hey, if you've just been grinding and you got a level 5, level 6 hero, you just sell them to someone who wants these rewards on the Perilous Journey.
Well, I do think that is an interesting thing that I've been sort of looking at too. And keep going. I don't want to ruin your flow because I feel like you got a lot going on
Like,
here, Guy. But
that's
the level,
exactly it.
the
where it's
level,
like
the level doesn't affect it that much.
Hey, he says, keep going, guy, and then keeps going.
Yeah.
level 1 floor is 37 jewel. Level 5 floor is 54 jewel. So assuming worst case scenario, that's a 15 jewel bump in price.
So sell during the gold rush, sell the shovels and the pickets and the
Yeah.
grain cans rather than trying to go get gold.
Exactly, and I think that's what a level 5 common hero is a pickaxe, right? In that analogy, right?
Right.
Very good. Good boy.
Because the
And then
level,
it's
so level 5 commons do not have that strong of a based on the formula, the survival chance formula. You know, it's not that different from a level 1 common, because like level is only one individual percentage point, whereas rarity and rank is like a higher percentage.
4. Yep. You get 4% going from basic to advanced, and then 8% going from advanced to elite.
Right. And so look at just from, common basic to common basic level 5, it's only 4 versus those same jumps. Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting, and people are saying like, "Oh, let's find the high level heroes to send." I don't know if that's the best strategy.
So it's easy. Just buy a level 9 mythic exalted and you're good.
I mean, yeah, that's the end result here. That's what we need to do.
We figured it out, everybody. This has been an episode of GuyKid.
Thanks for coming.
We'll see you next time.
You got your alpha.
I mean, all right. So let's move on to my final point here, and I've hinted at this with you guys, and I want to bring this up. We've talked about the Perilous Journey. We've looked at the rewards, and we've looked at everything that's going on. To me, I said this earlier in the episode, I'm a negative person. I'm kind of biased. I have a negative outlook on a lot of things. This seems like a lot of the rich getting richer, and the people with a handful of heroes really missing out. Is there something I'm missing, or is this opinion, am I being too cynical, or am I missing something? Because it seems like if you have a lot of heroes, you have a lot of strong heroes, you're going to get stronger, and you're going to win these LAN tournaments, and the rest of us are just kind of left on the sidelines.
Before you guys says something reasonable, let me throw it out in left field here. It's all about the game development right now. We're still early, in my opinion.
True.
Within the game atmosphere. So there's with jewel price at around $5, I think the team's trying to continue to generate interest, keep it going, make sure they have the funding so they can complete the whole dang thing. Maybe it is leaned a little bit towards the whales, but overall, man, their engagement, I say this every time, every podcast.
I know, yeah.
Their engagement with the community, the communication, it's second to none. So lending my trust. Guy, any thoughts?
Is this ecosystem better or worse with whales in the ecosystem?
Probably better.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, versus, like, I mean, you want to get, macro, is communism better than capitalism? If we all had the same amount, if we all were equal, I mean, I don't know.
Chats.
Well, it's funny too because I feel like we're still in a little bit of it's comical because Maddie, I know you haven't listened to it, but our talk track is very similar to Baby Punch and Ogre talking about
Shout out
Perilous Journey as well too, and it's it's so interesting to see how it all kind of comes back to the macro of games like this don't survive if whales aren't in the ecosystem. Like that's the big point. And so there always needs to be incentives for whales to keep being whales because the little guys can churn a profit that way because they'll be able to feed the system. So if there's some aspects of the game like Perilous Journey, I do think it's more geared towards the whales than the common guy. That being said, I think it creates a better opportunity for your common guy that's got 2, 3, 4 heroes. The value of their heroes are going to go up, and they're going to find ways to make marginal returns on the ecosystem from a play to earn perspective, whether that's providing ingredients for stamina potions for the whales to go burn a bunch of stamina potions for leveling or for events or something like that, or for the whales to go replenish their stock when 60% of their heroes get burned in the Perilous Journey. They want a couple more level 5, level 6 foragers, a couple more level 5, level 6 miners, or they want to build out their PvP team after that too. So I think this whole macro dynamic of what's happening with the Perilous Journey is good for all players that continue to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's that was a strong response. I can't. That's a good point, and I will ask one question on that though. Is
Yep.
can we not? Could we not? Could this game not survive if everyone had the same amount? If the wallet, if 10 heroes was your max, and every wallet had 10 heroes, the game would not survive. Is what you're suggesting?
Well, then it just becomes how can we create loopholes in the system? So whale's still going to do what a whale's going to do. It's just, hey, how much effort do they need to put into being able to do that? The people that want to own 100 heroes, if you do a 10 hero cap on an account, guess what? That person's got 10 accounts.
Yeah, sure.
They've got 10 different email addresses. I mean, everyone's got their own
Yeah,
VPNs. They can
yeah,
be in 10 different
yeah.
countries. I mean, this is the crypto world we're
No,
talking
I know.
about too.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So if you try to limit the capacity of what people can do in the game, they're just going to find workarounds for it.
Yeah.
So just create an open market society for let the ecosystem do what the ecosystem's going to do. And rather than trying to fight it, just embrace it. But it is tough too. I do feel like there's a couple things they could have done. Like these land tournaments, it would have been so great if your hero it was a team of 3 and your heroes had to travel around with your character, not to make the whole Pokemon reference, but it's like the Pokemon can't fight without their trainer
Sure.
at these tournaments. That would have been so great because it would have
Pokemon.
limited one account wouldn't be able to go grab 15, 20 pieces of land because that character would have to go move around in the land with it. So I do think there's like a couple things they could do to try to limit some of the buying power of the whales, but I do think they're cognizant of that, but I do think it's healthier long term for the game for people in this ecosystem to be making money.
Yeah. And again, yeah, I think my opinion is clearly biased because I have a smaller I can't compete with these whales. And that's just where I'm at in my life, but so I'm going to be biased and I'm going to be upset cuz I want all the benefits.
Tell him a
But
pickaxe, Matty.
yeah, that's the point. It's like, and that's what Guy said. It's like I need to find where I can create value from it for myself for what I have and what I'm doing. You know.
Ultimate free market capitalism, baby. This has been a Bogside Chats podcast. We're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms. We're keeping it casual, talking Pokemon, macroeconomics, you name it. The first non-whale podcast. No Gen Zeros, no 100 stable of heroes. My name's C9N, and way more importantly, we got our co-hosts, Mattyesq and GuyKid. Anything else, boys?
Oh, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Like and
See
subscribe.
you guys. Like and subscribe. Hit that like button.
We'll,
See y'all.
We'll pump some more stuff out, and also let me know if you guys like Charmander as the best main character.
Oh, what? We're not
Yeah.
going to talk about that? That's the sign off?
See ya.